Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Sessions of View of the Light. And we're here today with a very special guest. And I want you all to suspend your disbelief and suspend everything, all the other opinions of everyone else in the world, and just listen to our guest today. Because I think sometimes you get clear messages when you're not trying to filter things. And also, we'd like to take a moment to send our prayers, our loves, our peach dragons, and any other dragons of peace to the whole area of Eastern Europe, the Ukraine, Russia, all the neighbors of the Ukraine, that whole area. We just want to take a whole bunch of love and peace and send it directly to all those people that are living under a constant anxiety and a constant fear, and just send it to all those people because I don't think at the base of anyone's heart they want war, or and no, they don't want any children harmed. Russian, Ukraine, anybody. All children are sacred. All people are sacred, and we just want to preserve the peace of the world. Let's send out those peach dragons, Teresa, to bring in the peace and common sense and love to that whole area. Sending our prayers and our love for safety and peace for all beings. Thank you. Bex, my dear, would you
Yes,
please introduce our guest and our special friend, Roshan?
I would be so happy and honored to. You guys, Peroshini's back. We've been waiting so long. We're so excited to have her back. She's one of my personal favorite guests of all time. I first connected with Peroshini through Facebook. I was watching her videos and seeing her amazing um, posts about connecting with angels and messages from angels and things like that. And she just spoke to my heart immediately. Like there was just a deep soul connection with what she shared. Very empowering, very supportive, very loving, and so pure. And I have just been so in awe of you and your gifts, Parashni. I would love if you would be able to tell our viewers how you became aware of angels in your life and how you really learned to start communicating with them.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me, ladies. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. When I was first, I actually started communicating with angels out of just simple want. I thought it was cool. I was talking with my guides, my animal guides, and ascended masters, but the one group I hadn't really connected with was angels. And so I decided if I could do all of that, energetically connect mediumistically, connect with spirit, I should be able to connect with angels. And so I just kept trying. Every day in meditation, I kept trying. And I'd visualize them around me. And then one day, every day I just kept getting closer and closer and closer till that one day when it just clicked and I actually heard and then I actually saw. And so if you're out there and you've never worked with angels, keep trying because that's all it takes. Your soul remembers. You keep trying, you get there.
Absolutely. And I think, okay, so let's get to the basic before we get into the deepening the connection, because that's gonna be the most important part of our talk today. But what are angels?
Angels are messengers of the divine. They are here to help empower us. And in today's world, we're very much about right or wrong. There's so much divisiveness, and angels aren't involved in any of that. They're here, they're not linked to any one religion. They work with us regardless of our beliefs, and they work with us whether we are aware of them or not. And they're here just to help us empower us. And so that divine voice up there, spirit's voice that always is loving and nurturing and empowering, that is what the angels bring down to us and help us find our own spark and our own, mission in life.
And there's different, there's different levels of angels too, right? We have guardian angels, and then there's the archangels, and there's different types of helper angels as well. Can you tell us a little about the guardian angels? Because I know something that we've all most of us have heard about. Some people may not have, but can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, the guardian angels, everybody has at least 2 guardian angels, depending on your mission in life, what lessons you need need to learn and overcome, what growth you have, you will have a different number of guardian angels. Your guardian angels, what separates your guardian angels from just, other angels like archangels, is that your guardian angels are assigned to you when you're born. So you basically make a contract with them on the other side, and they're there to help you with your life path. And there's always, we say, at least two, because there's one guardian angel that is nurturing and supportive during those times of uncertainty when you really need that voice telling you to keep going and it's okay. And then you have the other guardian angel that's more of a push, drive and ambition and adventure. And that guardian angel will help you tackle the big changes you need to make. And, just as life evolves, it really pushes you out there. So they're amazing. They never leave you, never ever leave you. And they're always there. Always, always.
And it's just such a comfort to know, especially with the past 2 years. I think that more and more people are willing to open up to the idea that there's something more helping us. There's something more that's supporting us through all of these challenging times, because we wouldn't be where we are right now having gotten through this if there wasn't something more to this world, right?
Absolutely. There's absolutely a purpose. And I know for myself, and I know all of you out there have been through difficult times. And what do you tell yourself when things feel hopeless? If there's a path and a reason for why things are happening, even if we don't understand them in that moment, it brings peace and it brings comfort to know that, it's not just random craziness. There's actual meaning, and there are people, or there are beings that are more knowledgeable, or ancient, that are there watching over us. I find great comfort in that. And we're not alone in the world. Our world is part of a greater community out there. And that's really comforting.
It is, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the big ones now, the archangels, and they all have specific purposes that we can call them in for. Now, before we even get into that, I guess we should talk about the free will part, and then we can get right into the archangels, because the free will part's really important. Can you talk a little bit about why free will is such an important part of working with your angels?
The angels never intervene without your permission. Never do. Because there isn't a right way and a wrong way to live. There's a way, we simply have to live in connection with our soul, in resonance with our soul. That's the only way to live. And so you can think of it like a parent who's very controlling. They may be having the child's best interests in mind, but is it the best way to go forward? Is it the most empowering way? No. And so our angels very often won't interfere unless we ask them. And furthermore, there's certain things in our life path that they are aware of that we are not. And so sometimes you may be calling on them for change, for action, for something that you want, and you think it's for your best good, and they won't do it. So I see this happening with people very often, where they think, well, I don't have angels, or my angels don't listen to me. No, there's a reason. And so if we're patient and just, try to have as much grace as we can through those difficult times, you will always hear your angels. They'll always be with you. But yes, you do have to give your permission for the angels to intervene. And that's why in world events, if you don't mind for just a second, with world events being as crazy, I so want to encourage you, everyone who's listening, please, to call not just on your angels, but on your guides, on your ascended masters. Some of us work with Acturians, some of us work directly with spirit. Whatever it is you're working with, please call on them to help bring peace to our world, to help bring unity to our world. We're not alone in this. And so we can reach out, and we can give permission for our old gods and our old helpers to come back. They left because we didn't want them to be here. We can call them back to help. So please, if you believe that, please do.
I love that. I didn't think about that, the old gods and the old helpers that have been kind of pushed aside, or like, hey, we're all set, we don't need you. And like, yeah, we do. We do need you.
Yeah, we create our own reality. So it's just like manifestation. If we want a reality that's filled with unicorns and the old gods and the old ways, in terms of unity, why can't we have that? It's our world. We can have taxes and traffic jams, or we can have Lemuria and Atlantis, and what do you want? And for
Right.
me, I personally want those big powers to come back. I want to return to the divine feminine. I want, kindness to animals and nature. So if I want that and you want that, why can't we say, I'm a citizen of this planet, this is what I want, please help me? And if we all join together and do that, collectively, we are shifting the energy of our planet.
Right.
And maybe
Yeah.
that's one of the most important things we do as light workers is call in help of angels to ourselves and to the rest of the world, or even just to ourselves, because like I've explained it, like as soon as we call them in, we up level our immediate area, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am, we do. We absolutely do.
So if that's all we ever do, we've
Yeah,
done something good.
Right.
that is perfect. People say, what's my path? What's my path? What's my purpose? If you do that, what greater joy can you have but, giving to your community, but still being able to live your own life, right?
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of us, and I don't want to put it in a way that, but minimizes, but we feel hopeless in this situation.
Yes,
So how
yes,
can we be of service?
yes.
Without going over there and trying to, like, how can we be of service in the space we're in right now? And that's a great way to do it, is to be able to call in support from, beyond where we're at, to be able to call in those big powers, those big energies, those big loving, beings that are here to assist us and helping, surround the situation with all the love and light that we can and infusing it. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, because not everybody subscribes to this, and a lot of
Mm,
people are desperately hopeless, and
yeah.
and that just, no one needs to feel that way.
Mm,
And regardless of what they believe, I want to make them feel better. And so if all it takes is calling on angels to be there and give someone a little sign, a little hope, if that's all it is, then yeah, it's so
right.
worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Patty,
absolutely.
you just saying every day the angel you share, I share it too and lift my friends. And that's a
Mm,
great way of doing it,
That's
just
so
making them
beautiful.
aware, right? Making other people aware that there's more out there.
yeah.
And and sometimes people, like I say, when I say this, um, suspend your disbelief, is because people are so, I have to see it. I have to see it to believe it.
Hmm.
But I remember being in health class and learning about Van Leeuwenhoek or Van Leeuwenhoek, the person who discovered the bacterial and viral world through the microscope. Before that, people didn't have a clue that that whole world existed because you couldn't see it.
Hmm.
But now we know, like, there's a whole microcosm inside our bodies of viruses, bacteria, yeast, everything's growing inside us like a whole universe. But and we don't even understand what's outside because we don't see it. But maybe we don't have the right lens on.
Well, that's
On
exactly it, Rhonda. It's so funny you would say that, because the human eye, the perception we just cannot see what animals see. They have a greater, like a cat. Our human, it just hasn't opened up yet, but we are able to only see a tiny little fraction of what's around us in energy. So that's a good
Right.
point.
so in your classes, do you teach people how to open up that facility?
You
That
know, in my classes, I encourage people to work with themselves to open it up, because everybody is so very different. We do have general exercises, where we're practicing, where we lead people on how to do that. And they're always very effective. But then you have to go home after class. And so what do? Do you practice the same thing over and over and over again? Well, you can, or you can just listen to your soul. Like for me, the best way to bring the angels into my life, and what I started doing, because I didn't take any classes or anything when I first started communicating with my angels. I just wanted to do it, just like everybody else. You're sitting there lighting a candle. Why not try? And inviting them into your life and talking about them and making their presence real in your reality is the best way to bring them in, because I couldn't see them at first. I couldn't hear them at first. I didn't know what to expect at first. I mean, they're energy beings, right? So maybe they'll show themselves in physical form. Maybe they won't. Maybe you'll hear them. Maybe they won't. Maybe you won't. But the more you try, the more you're giving your soul a chance to take what's in your soul that's, around you, and make it a part of your body. Your soul remembers you are psychic. Your soul remembers you can hear. Your soul remembers you can see. And so the more you remind yourself that, hey, Archangel Michael, what are you doing today? This is what I'm doing, and just keep a constant conversation going, you're going to find you're getting guidance also in ways that you didn't expect. Because when we call on angels, we usually have an agenda. And so we're controlled. When we just talk to them in every day, like I'm at the grocery store, I'm not sure, what to buy, or, I had a day today, Michael, what do I do? And I'm just walking and talking. You're allowing the energy to flow. And sometimes guidance comes in when you're not expecting it because you're not holding tight and you don't have expectations. And that's how I first started actually hearing and seeing my angels. So I highly encourage all of you to do the same thing. Make them a part of your life every single day, and you will open yourself up to that higher. It takes a while because angels are high vibrationally, and because we are in physical bodies, we're a little lower. So it takes a little while to get up there, and it happens very naturally. So you don't have to force the situation. There are certainly things you can do that you learn in class, but just creating space and giving yourself that opportunity to level up slowly, it's so effective.
Do you think being in class with those people help up the vibration of the whole collective? The class, just being in class and all learning about angels and doing that raises that person's awareness and
It sure does, Rhonda. It's different religions have always. You're so psychic. A lot of different religions have said this. When we gather in large numbers, magic happens. And I can tell you, in class, one of my favorite things to do is to get readings from people because they're always so accurate. And people who think they can't do this work, because we're all gathered together, like-minded. So I'm in class. All my guides are there. You're in class. All of your guides are there. And it's this higher energy. You can't not get anything. And so it's really kind of magical because people who don't expect that, I never get tired of it. I've been doing it for so long, and it's like the first time every single time.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
It does.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And I'm getting goosebumps. You were talking about people see them differently. You see them differently all the time. Now, does everyone see angels differently? Because I've heard different people say different things. Like some people just see them as like orbs of energy.
Yeah.
Other people can
Yeah,
see
and
them.
that's why there's a lot of old-fashioned teaching there, and it was very controlled about what we should be seeing, what we should be experiencing. Everybody has different gifts, and it's really important to honor how you relate to the world, because your gift is how you open your soul to that, and how you open that doorway for all your other gifts to come out. And yes, Rhonda, some people do see physically, will see an angel. Some people will see just energy. And honestly, the angels are just energy. They don't have physical forms. They do that for our benefit. And it is absolutely beautiful. But for me, when I first meet an angel, usually they'll show themselves to me sort of physically in my mind's eye, so I can get a grasp. But after that, I don't see them. I just know they're there. I can feel them. It's very much a part of my body. I'm clairsentient, but and so people, I think, it's when you have that expectation, you feel almost disappointed. But if you just allow yourself to process in your own way, it's beautiful. Some people see colors, some hear, some people just feel the energy shift, the pressure.
Yeah, that's Teresa saying she just senses.
Mhm.
She's blocked herself out because of her internet. I just sense their energy and sense their messages. So that's really cool. Yeah.
That's a lot like how I do it, Teresa. You're clairsentient. That means it goes through your body, and it's not the gift that most people want. They don't think it's fun, but honestly, for me, it's a beautiful gift because you can't deny what you're getting. There's no way you can talk yourself out of that guidance, Teresa. Right? Because usually, if you hear something, well, did I imagine it? You see a sign, well, I'm waiting for a sign here, sign. But if you're feeling it through your body, you can't, you can't deny that.
Exactly.
Yeah, the signs. That's funny. That always reminds me of a story. Like one day I said, "Well, on my way to work, I'd like to see a deer if angels are real." So I'm driving, and I live in the country, so it's not really a hard sign to see. So I'm expecting to see a deer in every field. Nothing. I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of a bummer. I'm backing into my parking spot at work, and there's a deer behind me in my boss's front yard.
Oh, wow.
I know. I went, okay, okay, okay. That's funny. That's great. Like, so that's what I say. They don't mind giving signs, and they don't mind us playing with them, or asking for kind of proof so we can feel better about it.
It's fun. It's fun. And again, it makes their presence real in your life. So if you can't see yet, if you can't hear, ask for a sign. Just ask for that little sign and it could change everything for you.
Yeah. I don't know who. I mean, everybody asks for feathers, or they get feathers, and
Hmm.
I do
and
angel numbers. That's how I communicate with them. Always
I
angel
tried
numbers.
$100 bills, but it didn't work.
It's really wonderful. If you don't mind, I'd love to share a quick story.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Spirit's been guiding me to share something that happened many, many years ago. I live in the States now through marriage. I got married and moved to the States. But before, when I first started working with the angels, I was living in Vancouver, Canada, and I had a whole list of things I wanted. And I knew, you just know with your soul, it's time for this, it's time for that. And for me, I had a whole list of things I needed from the angels. I knew I had to move. I knew I was ready for a relationship. And it felt so imminent, but I didn't know how to bring that into my life. So I was taking my recycles down and I took the stairway. I was living in a high rise. I took the stairway, down I go. And just like I, shared with everyone, I talked to my angels all the time. So I was kind of complaining to Archangel Michael. He's the angel I work with predominantly. And I was complaining to him, I don't know how this is going to happen, Michael. It feels like it's real. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? How am I supposed to move? How am I supposed to, get married? I'm ready for it. And it feels so real, but it seems ridiculous. I live in Canada. I'm a Canadian citizen. And how is all of this going to happen? Well, I get downstairs. I open the building to the door to the recycles. And in the back alley, there's this huge truck, the semi, that takes up this entire back alley, huge white semi with the words, "Angel moving. We'll take care of the details so you don't have to." And I was like, are you serious? And within a year, I met my husband. I, moved and did all those things that seemed, I'm a very imaginative person, very imaginative. And I could not have, on my best days, it would have dreamed out how it happened. But it did.
That's amazing.
Great story.
Amazing. They always show up. They do. They always give you, and it's always exactly what you need. Even if you don't, because you can't imagine how it's going to be. It's always far exceeding what you can come up with on your own because they know the perfect way to deliver it to you.
Just like Rhonda, sometimes we are so controlled with how we think we're supposed to see the sign, and or even the type of sign. And if we just allow the energy to flow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
That people want to know how you met Charles.
Oh, of course. That's funny, actually. You know what? I met him on a tour, on vacation in Italy. So yes, that's how I met my partner.
That is so funny.
It's ridiculous because he was an American citizen. I'm Canadian, and I was saving up for a vacation, and I'd asked my angels, I want a vacation where I'm not going to feel pressured to drink or party or any of those things or meet people. Even though I was ready for a relationship, I'm not into the whole scene with it. Just felt not for me. And so I just wanted to be myself and enjoy, Europe, but I don't drive. And I certainly wasn't going to drive in Europe. And so I thought, Italy, I need a tour. I need all of that. And so they arranged it all for me. And I ended up meeting my husband, my to-be husband. And it was really strange. And everything just sort of clicked. So that's how.
Wow. Well, and it's just, because of course, he had his background and all his, angelic work as well. And it's like, it's not like you met at a workshop or something like that. You met at a completely out of the, focus of angelic realm, even though it's always there. But like, it's just, that's perfect. That's divine intervention.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I was teaching and I was doing angel work before I met him.
Right.
So it was, they brought us together for a purpose, and it was nice. But they'll always bring you to, what you need and when you need it. Because I married very late in life, and very, very late. I was, I think I was 40 when I married, so not normally the age, and I just wasn't ready before that. But
Right.
just going with the flow. I know there's a certain divinity to life. And if we allow the angels and if we allow just spirit just to guide us, you can't go wrong. Your soul didn't come here to fail. Nobody's soul came here to be upset or to fail. And sometimes when we control the situation, it feels like that, like we're losing. And if we just, the more we speak to our angels, the more we speak to spirit, we see that there's something else out there, and that kind of helps us be present in the flow of life. It just helps.
I think knowing that there's something else out there really takes a lot of fear away. And fear takes a lot of pressure away.
Yeah, it takes the load off.
If there's something else out there and we have a purpose, then we don't have to try so hard, like every day. Like, what am
I'm
I
a
going
bit of a control freak, Rhonda, and so
I
for me, it's the hardest thing in the world. I've always been independent, single, and so for me, it's the hardest thing forever. That I just don't. I don't like to let go of control. I'm very much in charge of my own stuff, but you have to when you want to communicate and when you want to invite that energy in. It's the hardest thing, but it's the best thing. Just letting go of that.
Yes,
letting go of
absolutely.
disbelief and letting go of control? Yeah, for that kind of thing. Because there's so much we can't control and we think we can. And
That's exactly
that's
it.
what worry is, right? It's
And
worrying
well,
about
that's what
things we can do.
control, I mean, it's fear. We want to control because there's fear. And so when you let go of fear, there's energy moves. I see energy as stagnant energy. There's no such thing as blocks. There is such a thing as a slow of energy, slowing down of energy. And for me, it looks like darker energy when I see it. It looks darker, gray, black. But when energy is flowing, it just flows. You see color, you see movement. And fear has that very dense energy where it'll look black or dark in color, and there's no movement. And so it's hard because the angel's energy is dynamic. It's always flowing. And so if we're sitting there with this stuck energy, they literally have to give us a sign. They have to give us a miracle, something that we see outside of ourselves. And they do. But as you work with them, your energy begins to flow more. You begin to let go of fear more. And you don't have to be perfect. I still have a lot of fear. I'm a control freak. So I do have a lot of fear, but it doesn't matter. I can still talk to my angels. There's nothing that says you can't. Just let go a little bit and it'll start moving.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about the archangels? We should be talking about them. I guess we should try what purpose do they serve in our lives, and how can we get to know them? And again, like you know that they each have a role, and when to call them in and all of that. And it's something for someone who maybe hasn't really gotten into archangel work yet. What would be the first step for them, do you think?
Well, firstly, I really encourage people to connect first with the archangels, because they are a guardian angel is a part of your energy. And so it really feels like it's hard to differentiate what is the angel speaking and what is your energy. It's very much immersive, whereas a guardian angel is outside. And so they come in with this big, powerful presence, and it's easy to see the signs. It's easy to see their presence. So it's very important, first of all, in that way. I encourage people to work with the archangels, but their purpose is the same as any other angels. We differentiate from them and we assign them roles like they're the overseers, they're the boss angels. I've heard people say, I've seen no indication of that in my own work. I just see them as being energetically a little different than a guardian angel. They do the exact same work and they separate themselves, like Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Ariel, for our benefit. But when I first began working with them, we are all one, is what they told me. We are brothers. We are all one. And so it doesn't matter. If you don't know which angel to call on, they know who they are. They don't care. they're not looking for recognition, you know. So you can call on whoever you want, or you can just call on the angels, and the right angel will come to you. You don't have to have be an expert in angelology, you know, to
Right.
figure it all out. You don't.
No, I love that, because there are some people who think I have to know who they are, what they do, how to call on them the right way. Like, and there's even the point where people have like, they look to, I saw something about their earth homes or whatever, like where on earth
Oh
that
yeah,
and I'm like, what?
yeah.
Like, there's just so many levels. So it's great to simplify it like that. I appreciate that. And like when I did Charles's angel angel course, I think there was one of them, and he just called on angels. It's never a specific name, it was just angels. And I
Mhm.
really loved that, because it helps take away the mind part of it and just allow the experience, without searching
Exactly.
for who.
Exactly. And also, we do have to remember a lot of what we've heard about angels is through the filter of religion and through the filter of an old age that is now past. So
Mm,
those lessons are no longer relevant. All angels can do everything. So, yes, we all know that they have specialties. But
right.
personally, when I started working, Archangel Michael told me, don't read books, don't learn from anyone, because we want you to see how we are, you know. And then I started working with them, and I started realizing, like Archangel Ariel, I always knew she was about the environment, and I started learning new things about her, you know. And I started learning that she could actually take me on astral travel, and I started working with Nathaniel, and I started realizing that Nathaniel does past life. Had I restricted myself to only a class or only what
Right.
Google was telling me, I wouldn't have known any of these things. And you just learn through experience. Do it
Mm.
because it's fun. Do it because it's interesting to you, and you will always learn something new.
I love that so much. It's just, I keep coming back to it, like, simplify. We complicate things, but the
Thank you.
simplest is the best
Hmm. Yeah,
and the
they know
most
what
fun.
they're doing. They've worked with
Right.
humanity since we first came here. They've worked with us forever. So they
Right.
know how we work. They know more about humans than we know about ourselves sometimes, because we identify mostly as souls. They know the human experience. They've watched us for forever. So they know what we're going to do. They know how to help us.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can we start to deepen our connection with them? Because a lot of us have already kind of stepped into that, starting to communicate, starting to feel them, starting to notice them. But I can say, personally for myself, sometimes I forget. I forget to call on them. I forget to say, hey, you know what? I'm going through something, because I'll be stuck in my own stuff and I'll forget. How can we help ourselves to be more in that space of calling them in, really just allowing ourselves to experience them more from a soul level?
It's a little of like what I said earlier, is I like
Mm-hmm.
to make them friends.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we call on them only when we have issues and
Mm-hmm.
problems, we're expecting something.
Right.
And if they are not able to intervene at that time, if they are not able to give us what we want at that time, it's very discouraging. And then it feels like a negative experience. Like, I'm
Mm.
calling on these guys. Why aren't they listening to me? I guess they like that angel girl better than me. Yeah, and that's not true. When we
Mhm.
create space for them to be in our life all the time, then we do get that guidance when you least expect it. And it
Mm.
comes in different forms. Like, for me, I'm very much involved with nature too. So I call on the angels as much as I talk to my fairies. And when I say I call on them, Archangel Michael, I'm really tired. Can you help me sleep tonight? Or, help me find good shows on TV that's not going to make me feel drained. Or,
Mm.
Michael, I'm really stressed today and I just need someone to talk to. And so I'll just talk to him and just keep that open, because you also don't know where the guidance is coming from. I work with angels, but again, like I said, I like nature as well. And sometimes when I'm really stressed out, I find just sitting outside works. And I was sitting outside, I think, just a few months ago, and I had a situation that was stressing me incredibly. And I was calling on my angels and, doing the control thing, like, fix this, help me. Nothing was working. And so I just went outside out of sheer exhaustion and just sat there. And I feed the hummingbirds, and I've got feeders all over. and this hummingbird just was zooming, and I was so locked in my worries, and I heard clearly, you will not have to move. I was stressing about it because I wasn't ready for a move at that time, and they told me loud and clear, you don't have to worry about it right now. And it came through a hummingbird. So spirit is wise. Spirit will deliver those messages. Just keep space for it. Don't control. Sometimes it may be a hummingbird. Sometimes it might be an angel or a fairy, you know. Just leave it and it'll come.
Oh, Rhonda, you're muted.
Sorry. When I was in the hospital, Melinda says, a life-threatening illness, I saw a gargoyle on the roof. I was told Archangel Michael has a gargoyle at his feet.
Well, if that's what you're told, then that is true for you. And that's why you saw that. Yeah, I don't like to work in absolutes and say, you know, this is what this angel has and it's true for everybody, because it's maybe something that Melinda, I think, asked the question. It may be something, Melinda, that you found for yourself in a past life. You know, maybe you had an experience with this that was very, very soul connecting and it resonated. And so when you saw this, when Michael brought this to you, it resonated in a way that it brought your power back. Whereas for other people, I personally don't see Michael with that, but I believe you and I trust that's exactly true for you. So we just have to keep our minds open to things aren't always like what Google says, you know, or what the one angel teacher says. It's different for all of us, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's so validating.
Yeah, Patty said she learned that writing them letters is important. And some people, that's how they learn too. They write rather than speak it. So
yeah, I actually agree with that a lot. It's we all have different forms. We hear about our throat chakra a lot, and that is our creative center. When we write, when we, you know, engage in art, when we speak, whatever calls to your soul is how you heal. And how do you heal? You get the energy flowing. When you are connected to your feelings, you are experiencing them. So even if it's stress, even if it's worry, you're processing and you're getting that moving. So writing letters is so powerful. It is a very, very powerful thing. And if that's your way to feel their love, then go for it, because it's healing. And it's
I can imagine doing art does the same thing. Like
absolutely
art, drawing, and whatever would do the same kind of flowy thing.
yeah.
Jeremy Gray, who loves your classes, by the way.
Thank you.
How do you balance the spirituality with being here in the 3D?
Good question.
Oh, Jeremy, that's a great question. You know what? If there's anything I can say, Jeremy, and for everyone else who's listening, our work is not supposed to be separate from humanity. For the longest time, spiritual people have been teaching and connecting with each other. That's all we do. We do readings for each other. We sell classes to each other. Well, that's great. But what about our neighbors and our friends out there? We need to be living in this time, be grounded. I love being ungrounded. It feels great, but it doesn't help my path and it doesn't help my neighbors and my friends. You have to live in this world. And even as unpleasant as it is, this is, you know, or can be at times, this is where we live and this is why we came here. So it's important to not be all woo all the time. I don't feel that's authentic, and I don't feel it's right. I feel when people do that, it's toxic spirituality where we deny our own feelings and we think that, you know, when we talk to angels, our life is going to be perfect. When we are actually present in the world and see the injustice, when we see things aren't always fair, when we see that we are not always perfect, and that's okay. Our angels aren't going to abandon us if we're mad, if we're angry. And yes, you can yell at your angels. They're not going to get upset at you. It means you're a human being, and I do that too. And, you know, and I teach about angels. It's okay sometimes. You're allowed to be human. When you live in this human world and accept it and make that a part of your life, you see beauty in little things. And you realize your life isn't meant to be going back up there. It's meant to be here. You're here now. And so I embrace humanity. I embrace the nitty gritty. I embrace the laundry and changing the cat litter and all those things. We're human beings. You know, I don't float around in my pool in an angel chair. I don't. I do things just like everybody else. And I don't think people understand that. They see people who teach about angels and they think, well, I should be wearing a turban and just, no, you can do that if you want, but we're meant to be here. And, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have 2 teenagers. I totally like some days I'm like, angels help. It's a lot to deal with sometimes. But yes, absolutely. Like being able to embrace the humanity while being a spiritual being, because you're a spiritual being having a human experience and a human being who is, a spiritual being. Like it's just you can't separate. Absolutely.
You can't separate them, and you can't. And when you make peace with it, you realize you don't need to always meditate to talk to your angels. You don't need to go and put yourself in a different environment to connect with spirit. We can do that every day. Nobody, it's only because we were taught that we have to, try, and, it's not true. And the more we accept that this is our reality now and that we're going to make the best of it, and they can join us here in our reality, the more you open yourself up to conversing with the divine in everyday life. When you're in the garden, when you're, doing the cat litter or the dishes, those are all opportunities. And that makes it, I don't know, just more special than, removing yourself and going to a little cave or,
because we were here. That's what our whole reason for being here was, to live this life and have the contrast, right? Because otherwise, I guess that's why the angels like us, because it would be boring being perfect all the time or happy all the time or joy.
It's not the point. Yeah, it's not the point in life.
It's the contrast that we have to have, right?
Right. We're not meant to live in caves out in the middle of nowhere and just be isolated beings. We're meant to interact with others and have experiences.
And part of being human is people in spirituality. There's this old thing where I'm a soul, I'm not a body. And yes, that's true. I've also said the same thing. But what's wrong with a physical body? Your body is housing your soul. Respect your body, love your body, celebrate your body, and make the best of it. There's so much joy. Yes, Teresa. There's so much joy in being alive.
Yeah, it's a miracle, right?
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And so, just accepting it and loving the purpose of why you're here. It's wonderful. Like we shouldn't always be thinking about going back. And yeah, I like the other side as much as everybody else. And given a choice, I'd probably be there. But I'm trying really hard to enjoy this. And my angels have taught me that it's there is so much beauty to be had in this life. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that from the other side in a physical body. That's what the angels want you to do. We often, working with angels, we have old-fashioned beliefs. You're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, and it's all restrictions, and that's not true. Please, I encourage everybody to give up all those little restrictions you've heard, that you can't do certain things, and that if you do, you won't hear from your angels. Who cares what anyone else says? Try it for yourself, and you'll see that you can.
Yes, I love it.
Patty brought up a thing. She's brought up a question. She says she has a 33-year-old and she calls on the angels to help with her. Now, are you allowed, like, I know a lot of people say, well, it's all free will, but are you allowed to call on angels for other people under the law of grace is what I
Yes, you are. You absolutely are, because that person's soul is in charge of whether they want to accept the help or not.
Right.
You can always call. And the angels, and the best way to call is just for protection, for taking care of the person, and let the angels do their job. Often we try to we try to micromanage. I'm like, okay, well, she needs this money, she needs this, and sometimes if we just tell the angels, please, can you take care of her, make sure she's okay, she's safe, and almost all souls are open to that.
Yeah, we can't control, like, everybody has to live their own path, and they've chosen their own lessons. And even though our lessons don't look like your lessons, we can't discount that they have their own lessons to learn, right? We can't take that away from them.
Exactly.
And angels won't, will they? They won't just take away that. Because
angels aren't enablers. And sometimes we have to go through tough times. And I tell you, my friends, my life is so far from perfect. It really is. But that's what all of our lives are there's no perfection we're attaining. And all of us, I think there's a false belief that when you work with your angels, things will be perfect. They won't be perfect. They'll just be easier because you'll know you're not alone. And you'll see those signs, you'll see that assistance when you need it. And they can help us in little ways. And sometimes that's all we need. But yeah, it's wonderful. We just have to kind of embrace that there's more out there, and we on this planet have a divine purpose to connect with it.
Yeah, it's letting ourselves relax about trying to figure things out. We don't have to. All we have to do is let them know what it is that we really need. Like, just, okay, please help me, feel safe. That's it.
Safe. Yeah.
And then they can tell us, they'll tell us exactly, or bring it to us exactly how it's meant for us. We don't have to figure out how. Again, with your move and everything, you just said, okay, I know that I'm going to have to move at some point, or I'm not ready to move, or whatever. You set the intention, and they show up with exactly the message you need. They always show up exactly, and then everything unfolds perfectly when we stop trying to figure it out.
When we stop trying, when we get out of our own way. There's lessons. Sometimes things are tough, and I have so much empathy for everyone out there right now, because it's certainly been a collective dark night of the soul for humanity for so long. And that is replicated in our individual lives. And so if you're suffering right now and feeling hopeless and just need that sign that something's going to work out or whatever, invite the angels in, because they might not be able to tell you exactly what you need, but it's nice to have a friend in a high place, isn't it? It's nice to know that if Michael's not intervening for me, that means maybe I'm meant to go through this.
Right.
And maybe, I know he loves me.
Right?
Yeah. I know he loves me. I know he's been with me. So he wouldn't let me suffer, even though it feels really, really tough right now. In the end, I know it's for the best, because, it's similar to being a parent. You want to protect your child. You want to do everything for your child, but you don't want your child to grow up useless, not being able to have skills. Sometimes you have to stumble. Like if you're learning to walk, you're going to fall. But that's how you learn how to walk. So kind of have to hold space for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when you were saying, if you're in a rough place right now, the first thing that popped in my head was you're on the right path. Because collectively, we're all going through this. We're being, it's really kind of peeling back our layers of what we thought we were supposed to be experiencing, what we, all these old beliefs that don't fit us anymore. We're going through a purification and a cleansing. So it may feel uncomfortable because you're losing identities of what you thought you were, what you thought your life was supposed to be. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's anything more than different, and it'll get better.
Exactly. And it's important for now. It's extremely relevant for now, because a lot of spiritual people do feel a little tender right now. What we've been working for, it doesn't seem like it's manifesting in the world, not with what we're seeing. And that's really hard. That's really hard. So more than anything, we need to connect with the divine. We need to connect with our angels and with spirit to remind ourselves. Sometimes what we think is meant to happen is not always the way, that perfection we see. Sometimes we have to go through the tough times, and that's just the way it is.
Right. And the thing is that as much as we're thinking, what we're seeing may not be what we want to happen. It may be the most divine path to get there. And that's the part we need to let go of, is that, things look uncomfortable. Things are being shaken up. It's going to keep happening for a little while, because we can't go where we want to go if we're taking all this baggage with us. It has to be, upheaved. It has to be revealed. We have to go through the shit, so that we can be clear, so we can have all the good stuff. We can be able to be in alignment with that joy and that love and that union that we're all striving for. But if you try to take the shit with you, it's just going to hold you back, and things are going to get muddy again. So we've got to go through this purification.
So well said. The old has to crumble. You can't just keep building on the foundation. Sometimes a clear slate is needed. And as hard as it is, it's, as light workers, part of our job is to keep faith in our own hearts. You can't do it for other people. Don't force yourself. Don't force yourself to always be there for other people if you can't. Sometimes the best thing is to be there for yourself, because if your energy is good, you're helping everybody that comes into contact with your aura, with your energy. You're anchoring light. So if you can't be there for others, it's okay. turn off the phone, turn off the emails, and be there for yourself. That you're doing something good with that.
Yes. And that is a powerful form of self-care too. Cutting off technology for a little bit, just allowing yourself to be with yourself. You don't have to attend to everybody all the time or be available all the time. It's so important, especially right now. Yeah.
Especially, yeah, I'm a teacher. I part of my job, if you go to, spiritual teacher 101, is that I must be, posting all the time like an
Right.
influencer online. And I see spiritual people run themselves ragged doing these things. And it's our community, it's our work. Why are we letting social media tell us how we should be doing our work? If you don't want to work for a few months, don't work. You don't
Right.
want to post, don't post. It doesn't matter. Make sure you have your own corner, whether it's in person, at the local coffee shop, whether you want to write a blog or a newsletter. Make sure that power is in your own hands. No one should be telling you how to do this work. You can do it the way you want to.
And it should be fun, right?
Yes.
It should be fun.
And it's not an alliance with you. Like,
Yeah.
and if it's fun and it's easy, then it's probably the right thing to do. And if it's not, then it's probably not the right thing to do.
Very wise and very true.
Well, I'm old, so
Oh, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We always just love having you on. Absolutely. So what do you have coming up that you would like people to know about? And how can people get a hold of you if they want to have more time with you, of course?
Well, please sign up for my newsletter. As I was telling you about social media, it's so our spiritual community is being hidden online, and very much so. So sign up for my newsletter, and then you'll be able to know where I am, what I'm doing. It's the best way to be in contact. And if you're a spiritual person yourself, please do the same thing. Make sure you take your power back and own your work. I also have a masterclass coming up with the amazing Charles Virtue. That's March 11th to 13th, and we'll be going through everything on how to connect with your angels. We'll be doing angelic mediumship, how to do oracle card readings, and learning all about the angels, angel signs. It's a 3-day online workshop with Spanish translation, if you are called.
I love that. That's definitely that's a very, very amazing experience, I guarantee.
It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that'd be I love it. Anyway, okay, Teresa, I'm passing off to you. You have the questions.
Okay, this is the fun part. I mean, all of it's fun, and all of it's been great. I enjoy all of you so much, and it's such a blessing. One of the questions is, what is your theme song? But I kind of want to know, what is your go-to song to raise your vibrations? Music, song, whatever.
You know what?
Do you go to?
My go-to song, Teresa, is always Happy by Pharrell. That's my phone. But I got to say, I listen to things that are very unspiritual to get myself going. I'm a very ungrounded person because I'm always doing this work. And so I will listen to things like Eminem and, really beat music with a high beat, and you can do it, empowering, go for it. I love girl power music. I love things that are empowering and, just go for it. I love Shakira, crazy things like Cake by the Ocean, I think is
DNCE. I love them.
Song, things that are just high dancey music. The angels love to play. They love to dance. You don't have to listen to meditation music all the time.
Have you heard Lizzo's Soulmate?
I haven't.
Oh, you got to check that out. That is going to make your heart so happy.
I have no teenagers in my house, so I have no connection.
Oh, that one was all me. My teenagers don't get credit. That was
throwbacks. I'm not, but I need to find the radio and actually start listening to that because that's
If you want a girl power, a self-love song, Soulmate by Lizzo is it. It is so good. So
there's nothing wrong with modern music, guys. Listen to it. Raise yourself up.
Except for that mumble rap when you don't know what they're saying.
You don't know what they're saying.
way beyond me. Yeah. And I can hear really well. I like the Alien song that Katie Steinle gave us the other day. Alien. It's called Alien. I'm an alien. It's pretty cute. keeps playing on my phone by mistake. I don't know why. But, yeah.
I love it. I love it. So our next question is near and dear to all of our hearts. At this time, what is the crystal that calls to you to use the most right now?
You know, I like Moldavite, and I've been getting into using Moldavite a little more these days. For right before Moldavite, I was using rose quartz quite a lot because I was going through a really difficult time in my life. And rose quartz is something you can find in like a fish tank. And so people don't always think how powerful that crystal is, but it is so powerful just to hold space for yourself. Now, Moldavite is a completely opposite energy. It's very ET, very high in vibration. I guess I'm just doing some self-evaluation. I guess my difficult time is moving because I'm being called to this crystal that helps me raise myself up. So if you want to get that nice big jolt, Moldavite's really good. I also like selenite for that. It just brings you up.
I just got a piece of moldavite, and I had to take it out of my bedroom.
Uh-huh.
I could not sleep the first, and I've got it in with a Herkimer diamond right now, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another good one. And that's the thing I forgot to mention. A lot of these high powered crystals, if you have energy slowdowns inside of you due to sometimes dietary things like caffeine, sometimes will cause headaches. And it's just because the energy is not flowing as well. You will be
Good to
experiencing
know.
that with, like Rhonda said, with the,
Yes.
it'll give you headaches.
It
It's
can give
just
you anxiety, Moldavite.
anxiety.
I have
It's
to
just-
take breaks when I wear it because sometimes it can just be too much. You
Oh.
feel it
Oh,
makes you.
yeah.
I don't drink coffee. I have no caffeine, but it makes me jittery.
Yeah, so you
Sometimes,
have to
yeah.
be careful, and you have to not careful. You have to be aware of how it works, and use it for you. Like for me, I've always had a connection with Moldavite. It never bothers me. It's just one of those things
That
that
makes
just
sense.
That
oh,
totally makes sense. I think you need to wear it when you go out to Joshua Tree. In fact,
Yes, I was.
Oh.
Yeah, I second
okay.
that.
I'm putting it in my purse.
and a necktie too, if you have it.
Oh, you know what? Just tuck it in your bra. Don't worry about the purse.
Yeah.
I would look like the bumpiest person because I literally have a whole bag of Moldavite. It's been my favorite for years, so I keep
That's amazing.
taking it up. But yeah, the bra is pretty.
Listen, I always have the bumpiest bras because of all the stuff I'm tucking in there. So, but I always felt stay protected, and strong, and
It works. It
it
absolutely
does.
works.
I just warn my kids when they hug me. It's a little. Don't hug me too hard. I feel great.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw an interview of Louise Hay one time, and they were in front of a live audience, and the lady was saying, she always carries stuff in her bra, and she reached in, pulled out hot sauce, salt. I mean, she was just for like 10 minutes pulling out all these things out of her bra, and it cracked me up. I never knew that side of her.
That's
It was
great.
That's
amazing.
funny. Well, they don't give us enough pockets when you're.
No, that's true. Or big enough pockets. We get these tiny little pockets that are not usable at all.
No, keep our pockets, people.
Start
We
wearing
make
bracelets.
our own.
And
Yeah,
so
crystals
this
are
next
beautiful.
question is when we've talked about communicating with angels and communicating with our fairies and dragons and unicorns and everything. The next question is, what experience do you have with contacting our oldest ancestors? No, our star families.
Okay, I don't connect with them very easily. The one I connect with the most is usually it, and it's really strange because I do have the gift of sight, but I don't always see them, and I've actually went out trying to find them. But what I connect with is the guides from the other side, Commander Ashtar. I connect with him a lot. And it's, for anyone out there who's into doing readings or anything, it's a beautiful opportunity to meet more people because it's not in my wheelhouse. Everybody has what works, and I'm not one of those teachers that's going to pretend I know everything about everything. That's silly. And so it's not in my wheelhouse, but I connect with that Commander Ashtar quite a bit. Usually my experiences, if in the physical way that we're talking about, what I see is mostly angels and fairies, and I very rarely see the ET presence. The last one was being out in, where was I? Death Valley, and we went off-roading, and I just got the guidance to get out of there as fast as possible. So that was the strongest sense I've ever had through my body, clairsentience, and unfortunately it wasn't a pleasant one, but it showed me that people were taking care of me and, you know, telling me where I needed to be and where I didn't. So yeah.
That's interesting.
Very, very interesting. And the thing that, like, lately I've been, when we talk about these things and people say, I don't know if I really had much experiences, or what always comes through is chances are they're there and they're showing themselves. It's just that you're not aware to look at those specific things, like cloud formations. You know, like you see the clouds that are like not normal shaped clouds, or more round and some, you know, like a cylinder or things like that. Also dreams. Dream time is a powerful time for visitations to happen. So if you have dreams where you've had experiences, those very likely are real visitations or real experiences that you're just processing when you're not in that space of being stuck in your mind, when you're more allowing.
Exactly. You just kind of have to, you know, just open yourself up and see what comes to you. But yeah, I've seen, if you're curious, you guys, you know, you can absolutely have angels show up very physically for you. It's happened to me more than once. They've saved my life. Archangel Michael, like for a physical thing, he's moved furniture for me. And he doesn't do it today. I could really use his help today. He won't do it. But, you know, from way back, over 10 years ago, he was moving furniture for me. And so there you go, you know.
Awesome.
That is cool.
You know, that happened to us one time. Me and my mom were both pregnant at the same time. That's a whole nother story. But anyhow, the car stalled right after the lights, and it was in the traffic. And so we jump out and we start pushing, you know, with our big bellies. Out of nowhere, some guy comes jogging up, pushes our car. We get it to the side. My mom turns around to say thank you, and nowhere could this person be seen. Had to be an angel.
That happens a lot. Archangel Michael is very well known for doing that, but they sometimes take the form of humans, and sometimes they work very strongly with a human and sort of almost like be their higher self to assist in a situation. And after that's over, the person who has been, you know, in the presence of that angel won't always have as much of a memory of what happened during that time, but they will be acting as an angel.
True, I agree. That's too cool, ain't it?
Eczema was asking, sorry if I wrecked your name. Is there any advice having angelic messages through dreaming? Do you teach anything about, or do you have any advice for that?
Any advice for that? I would say to let go of control and stress over. When we're asking for advice, we're usually in fear mode. There's something we're worrying about or upset about. And honestly, when you dream things, it's kind of like the last line. It's when your mind is relaxed and your unconscious is allowed to open. And so in that presence, if you are not listening to your guidance, if you are controlling things, and we all do it, me too, the guidance will come up in your dreams. And if you're not receiving anything in your dreams, you may not need to know anything at that time, or there may be something you're eating, taking that is interfering. Sometimes if we sleep with, we've had coffee before we sleep or a lot to drink before we sleep, you're changing the energy, and you're also, everybody's different. If you don't have a gift of clairsentience, it won't matter what you do because you're not receiving that message through your body. If you do have the gift of clairsentience, because everybody's different, and you're drinking heavily before you go to bed, well, then you're not going to be dreaming, you know? It really is very independent, okay, whether you experience things through dreams. I'm afraid I'm going to say your name wrong, and I apologize. Jamina, for myself personally, like if you are not receiving guidance through your dreams, maybe you're hearing them in everyday life. Maybe you're already on the path and you don't need to, you know? So keep that in mind. Sometimes there's a divine timing to these sorts of things.
Like repeated songs, right?
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
I love those. But to help, you can put amethyst under your pillow to help with dream recall, because sometimes you can be having dreams and you just don't remember them. I mean, so that's something that I'm a big advocate of. And let me tell you, the amount of dreams I wake up remembering, it's like I've had a million adventures every night. It's like, oh wow, I've been busy. So it definitely helps.
Advice. That's
Yeah.
a really great advice. Yeah, and just keeping, like, some people, are sensitive to electronics, so keeping those unplugged might
Yeah.
help you have better recall. There's so many things we could be doing, so you just have to kind of figure out what works for you.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. We wish we could go down to Palm Springs and visit you right now.
Oh,
I'm having a whiteout. I'm looking out my
That would
window.
be so much fun. Yeah, it's cold here.
It's a
Lots of
whiteout.
snow. Yep.
So
Not fun. But that's okay. It won't be there forever. Spring is coming.
it
coming.
absolutely is. Spring is coming. Thank you so much, ladies. It was such a pleasure. It's always so fun to talk to you.
Thank you. We love it. We love hanging out with
Yeah.
you. It's the highlight of our year. We love it so much.
it is for sure.
It is.
Can't wait
Teresa, you have the winner, right?
I have the winner right here.
Yes.
I'm hiding it because for since we began and we started this, we've been giving one winner a week to the people who've been sharing it out, and we so appreciate that. And we want you to go to our YouTube channel and sign on, because we have so many inspiring people that we get to enjoy, and we want to share it all with you. So go to the YouTube and subscribe and stuff like that. We're going to be doing something new. So this winner here represents the change. This will be our last winner given over to a session, and then starting next week and thereon, we're coming up with some new things to keep it fun, to keep it rotating, and just to bring more joy in. So with that, the winner who wins a session with Rhonda, who is so amazing, is Melissa White Dove. Congratulations, Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
And how amazing is that? That I didn't even think about that till now, but we started the show talking about peace, and here we are ending the show talking about peace, bringing in that white dove energy. So
Yeah.
that's
Awesome.
perfect.
There's a sign.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you much, Lee. And remember, you can subscribe to our podcast and listen to this on the go. We have 2 seasons, so we just keep adding as we go along for this season, the new season. So subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to, and we'll see you next week. Thank you
Yes.
so
And
much.
check out Peroshini.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm gonna check out that masterclass.
Yeah,
Love
sign up
you.
for that masterclass.
Take care.